This is our sixth Karate Kid movie. Throughout all of them, they basically all have the exact same basic premise. And maybe for another franchise, I would get tired of it and I'd be saying, oh, can't we do something different? And there are elements that Karate Kid Legends does differently, but I can't be mad at this, even though it is just the same old formula thrown in again. Watching a film like this, I can't help but just smile.
Yeah, same. Of course, there are some inconsistencies with the film, but it's a vibe. I'm just enjoying it. It's a good old vibe with interesting mixed martial arts, but also exploring another form of fighting in New York, which is completely different in the world of the Karate Kid. It's safe to say that they always have the same story. They just gotta bring it back, like, okay, we gotta do the story again. It's gonna work. Starting from the 80s to now. I remember watching Karate Kid with Jaden Smith and
Yes.
Jackie Chan. That was my first time seeing that, get into the world of it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But then I realized this was a sequel, but a continuation or something for the first Karate Kid. Then I realized there was more. There was more, and there was more. And there was Cobra Kai, and there's all of that. So we got sequels. We're already in the sequel train, baby.
It's a great example of the difference in film culture. So when the 2010 Karate Kid came out, it was just a reboot. There was no connection to the original.
Yeah.
But now we live in the age of multiverse and nostalgia and legacy sequels. And so it makes so much sense for them to just be like, oh my God, let's retcon it. So the reboot was always part of the universe of the original. And let's bring together, as they describe it in this film, the two branches of the tree. It's definitely egregious nostalgia, but
Yeah.
god damn it. God damn it, I'm a fan. I couldn't help smiling and just having fun, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it. Cue the music.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Right, so Karate Kid Legends. This kind of takes a different approach to the other two because the other two, our protagonist is American who begins to explore different culture. In the original, it's Daniel LaRusso exploring Japanese culture through karate, and in the remake, it's Dre discovering Chinese culture through Kung Fu. And in this one, it's different because you get a Chinese kid called Lee, played by Ben Wang, who moves from China to New York. And so it's a much different fish out of water than we've seen before. It's kind of a flip on that 2010 reversal. But then you get all of the tropes. He meets a girl, and that girl is kind of entangled with this rough guy who knows,
The
yeah, the
bully.
bully, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like the best way to defeat the bully is karate tournament. And this film definitely takes different paths, but obviously the big draw of it is Lee is trained by two karate masters, one of which being Daniel LaRusso, all grown up, the original Karate Kid, and the other one being the GOAT, Mr. Han from the 2010 reboot. Now, this is where the nostalgia was made for me. They're doing the jacket on, jacket off. I've seen that 2010 film so many times. And
Same.
there were just moments that I was just grinning because it was so much fun.
Yeah, obviously there was lots of nostalgia and it was going for a new style. This is exploring Japanese and Chinese martial arts. One thing that I was impressed with was they tried to go for, I don't know if it's like a comic book style or a manga style for this film with the captioning, which is
Mm.
pretty cool. It felt like you were watching a comic book, but I don't think they utilize that. It's just in certain parts of the movie. It's hard to go for a different style, but I think they kind of did for this film. I think you had so much going on.
Yeah, we open with a scene from one of the Karate Kid sequels. I think it's part two, which I've never seen. Karate Kid is a really weird one. I've seen the original, I've seen the remake, I've seen all of Cobra Kai, but I've never seen two or three or the next Karate Kid. Just a very strange blind spot in my Karate Kid
It's just
lore.
like a blank state at the back of your mind is like, huh, did I see them? And then you're gonna
Yeah,
watch them and you're like, oh
I
my
have a
God, okay,
feeling.
that's
Yeah.
why I haven't seen them.
I have a feeling I forgot something. Every time in Cobra Kai, whenever they flash back to one of the sequels, I'm just like, yeah, cool, great,
Cool. Was
fine.
this in the
Yeah,
movie?
they kind of go from this sequence where Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel about his family, and then they go into this really cool animated sequence, which kind of explores, yeah, the Miyagis and the Hans are kind of descendants, and they were buddies and vowed to help each other always, and they find a way to bridge the two Karate Kid timelines, I guess. And I really
The
liked, as you're saying,
timelines are
like,
converging. The timelines are converging.
Honestly, I was scared that they were going to do like a CGI AI Mr. Miyagi at some
Oh
point.
God,
Because
yes.
they do that in Cobra Kai and it's awful.
Oh no.
And
Are you
yeah.
kidding?
Yeah,
This
in
happened?
in the final season, one scene that is really just, yeah, you can't escape it. But I like the animation style, as you're saying, like the text you see. It's really cool. It is. And this film, now I enjoyed it a lot, but this is a deeply flawed film because
It is.
now, to me, to my eyes, this film is essentially 9 montages strung together into one film. The amount of montages this film hits you with is insane. And it felt to me like maybe there were reshoots, maybe things went wrong because it felt so cutthroat in how fast it was. No scene lasts for more than like 2 minutes, maybe at the most, the maximum. Most scenes kind of have an average rate of like 1 minute. There's one scene where someone's in hospital and Lee goes to visit them and it's somber and Lee maybe feels a little bit of guilt about this and he goes to the hospital and it's like, are you okay? And the guy in hospital's like, I'm all right. And Lee's like, okay, cool. And then the next scene is like, well, you don't want to spend more time in the hospital? It's like,
Well, nobody wants to spend in the hospital, Tom.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
so
thing.
true. Let's
Yeah,
go
I
on the
think
streets, baby, and we're gonna do karate.
yeah, we're gonna fix your back with karate. That's the one thing. Yeah, I think the montages were very out of place. It just progresses things way too fast. Like you don't have a moment for the character to progress or regress something in their journey. That's a great example to have for the hospital because that's it. There's no conflict or anything to explore. It's just like, cool, we're buddies. That's it. Great, we're fine. That's the one thing that just feels so overwhelming that you don't have on an emotional level of characters. There is for the central conflict where he does want to fight, but that would bring back a lot of memories. That was a good source of internal conflict, I'd say. But it just feels like we didn't progress, but somehow we did. It just feels like we're in Lord of the Rings and then we just use the eagles to get to Mordor.
There's a lot of steps. Almost as soon as Mr. Hahn and Daniel LaRusso enter the narrative fully, as soon as we get those nostalgia characters, we begin to move so much faster and breeze by a lot of things. Those two characters aren't in the film very much. The film is totally marketed as like, it's both of the karate people coming together, and I think rightfully so, the film focuses most of its attention on Lee. Good, he's the protagonist, is what we want to see. But surprisingly, they really don't zero in on the fact that these two different senseis have their own baggage. I never understood what Mr. Hahn's relationship with Lee is. I know that Lee isn't his grandson because in 2010 Karate Kid, Mr. Hahn is still grieving his dead wife and son. If he just had Ming-Na Wen as his daughter the whole time, he's not as alone as he pretends to be. I don't think that makes any sense. Maybe Lee is like a grandnephew or something. I don't really know.
Or is it in the Karate Kid sequels that we missed a plot thread or something?
Yeah, it turns out that actually Mr. Hahn is in the next Karate Kid all along. We just missed
All
it.
along.
It was right there in front of our
he,
eyes.
he was just an extra in the background, just
They
chilling.
got Jackie Chan as an extra, and they were just like, yeah, for the fans, I guess.
Yeah, for the
Sure.
fans, just put your jacket on and jacket off. And then that sparked the idea for
Yes!
the next film. And he's like, oh, I should pitch this.
Honestly, I really appreciate that they had restraint with the whole wax on, wax off thing because that's the iconic thing. And they
Yes.
thought, we're not going to do wax on, wax off. We're going to stick with the jacket for the 2010 fans. And yeah, man, I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just, there are things that I feel like we could have gone into more. And that is where that pacing becomes a bit ruthless. I really liked the central conflict that Lee is going through, that his brother died in a fight and his mum doesn't want him to fight at all. But that conflict is resolved quite quickly as well. It's a bit like, don't fight, and then 2 scenes later, don't fight. Throughout the film, she's just saying, don't fight, and then eventually she's like, all right then, go on. You can do, oh, you cheeky so-and-so. It felt like we could have gone through more, and I can't help but thinking that after watching Cobra Kai, which is such a banger of a show, let me tell you,
And still haven't seen it.
oh my god, it's phenomenal. And I can't help but thinking that the writers of that show would have been able to take this already good script and take it to the next level, because that show really digs into the character. But that's a TV show, there's more time to do that. I understand that with a film, maybe they thought there wasn't enough time, but how long is this film? I don't even think it's 2 hours long.
It did feel short.
It's 1 hour 34.
To me, that's a very short film.
Yeah.
Me talking about a 4-hour film. Yes, this is perfect length for me. The film it kind of did the same profound experience for the original Karate Kid. I think it was very impactful when you watch the original one. In the 80s, you got Terminator, Top Gun, Die Hard, action films that you can think of, some crazy violence and masculinity. I think Karate Kid was completely different from the rest in that time. The movie tackles the theme of bullying and the classic trope for the hero's journey, where we get to follow Daniel to take on this bully. This was addressing bullying at the time, where there was so many action movies and action heroes as well. And I think it's quite relevant today. There's action role models in this toxic world. And this tackles mentorship as well, which Karate Kid Legends was pretty good about. There's two mentors, but how do you tackle two mentors that have a different way of teaching?
Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio have really great chemistry, and part of it was definitely just the enjoyment of seeing characters that I love together, but I was just laughing so much watching them bicker and argue over like what the right way to teach him was, and they're like, no, we gotta do it this way, no, we have to do it this way, and then there's this brilliant scene where it's the three of them on the roof, and Daniel and Mr. Han just keep on hitting Lee to the ground. Be like, get up, and they hit him back to the ground again.
It's this way.
And like, this way, hit him, and Lee's just like, oh, okay. I tell you what, Ben Wang as Lee is fantastic. That kid has such great charisma. He's so fun to watch. He's funny. You believe the emotional moments with him. He's got great physicality. Obviously, he's doing all of the karate himself. I thought that he was just brilliant. And what I love about these stories is that they're just about good people wanting to just show respect and honor, like show that they're not the bully. And things that I missed from this one, the ability to make the journey feel so much more like a struggle, like a kind of how the hell are we ever going to do this? I never felt that for this one because Lee already has a lot of martial arts training, and he even trains the girl that he has a crush on and gets with. She's called Mia, and Lee begins to train her dad, Vic, in martial arts so he can make his boxing better. So like Lee from the beginning is this kind of mentor. So I really enjoyed this different angle of Lee actually being the one to train and getting to know them, and he gets to know New York and understand how to navigate it, and he teaches Mia a little bit of Mandarin so she can communicate with people better in Chinatown. I really liked all that stuff, but then once you get to the classic Karate Kid bit, the struggle feels so much less difficult because he already knows how to fight quite well, and the odds don't seem impossible.
Yeah, it just feels like there wasn't a struggle. The whole section, him exploring mixed martial arts, but with boxing, that was really interesting to see two cultures collide. And I wish there was more to explore with that because I feel like you could have seen more development for the tournament. However, Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso just comes out of nowhere, just like, hey, we're here, we're gonna help you. The problem with this film is that it has too much of everything. It tries to have nostalgia, it tries to have new style. I think it has a good style, but I think one of the things is like, don't forget this, we're gonna come back to that. Like the introduction for this film literally sets up something later on in the movie,
much later on, like
later on,
an hour later,
which many people will forget. Like, oh my god, yes, Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso, they were in this movie. That's when the identity for this movie was lost, and it just packs everything in. I would love to see a longer version of this movie and heavily focus on the quieter scenes, to see more character dynamics, especially for Mia and Lee, but also Vic and the tutor as well, which he was there just for 5 minutes in the movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, he was funny when he's playing the guitar. That's good. That's good.
That was good. That was a good scene. The comedy, the comedy lands. The comedy lands.
Yes, the comedy does, and I think that the problem is that this wraps into the idea of it being too short. But once we get Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso arriving, we focus so much on the fun. We're having fun. We're having a great time, but they don't balance it with the emotions quite enough, and I think that's a shame. Like the thing that makes the original movie and the reboot work is that obviously the mentor isn't the main character, but we find out that there's pain within them. As I said earlier, Mr. Han lost his wife and son. Mr. Miyagi is a war veteran and still carries a lot of that pain with him. There's that moment of understanding between the teacher and the pupil where the pupil actually teaches the teacher something. We don't get that in this one, and so I did feel like that was something that I missed. And there's this brilliant scene towards the beginning when Lee and his mum go to light these lanterns and they let them go, and it's like this beautiful moment of like them remembering Lee's brother, her son, and it's beautiful, but again it goes by so fast. I really wish that it had kind of taken a bit of a moment to stop. And I think the score as well, the score's very upbeat, there's a lot of hip hop in it, but it doesn't carry a kind of emotional heart that you get from the Bill Conti score in the original or the score from Cobra Kai, which is just, oh my god, you talk about scores that get your blood pumping. Holy hell. And yeah, I feel like they were having so much fun with it, and I was having so much fun with it, that the emotions do kind of slip. And obviously, this is a Karate Kid story. You know how it's going to go down. But I will
Yeah.
say, I will give a spoiler warning here because I want to talk about there's this thing, they kind of do a subversion of expectations that I really enjoyed. So there's this bit at the beginning when Lee has a flashback where his brother teaches him this kind of flying dragon kick or something. And Lee remembers it, and Lee is like, oh, I could never get that kick right. And I was like, okay, movie, I know what you're going to do. He's going to try it, and he's going to fail, and he's going to do it at the end, and it's going to be like the kick from the first one or the snake from the... Okay. And then he does it, and it fails against the villain, and it was like, okay, well done. But then actually, instead of them trying to sneak up on you with it, they spend the whole time in the training montage trying to get the kick right. There's this brilliant thing of him trying to do the kick and like sliding under subway barriers, which was really funny. But also, that's the moment where you see him develop. And when he uses it in that final fight, while it is still predictable, it was very good. Like
It was pretty good.
That moment of him subverting the bully and, you know, like
Yeah.
surprising him and actually defeating him was really great.
Yeah, it was a cool canceling move. Well, okay, I'll tell you a funny bit, just off track. So in the movie, surprisingly, there is a collaboration with Karate Kid and Tekken, which is there for advertisements. Like it's there in the subway, it's there in the city.
Okay.
And I was having flashbacks, bro. I was having bad flashbacks because I'm terrible at the game. And then when I watched this movie, I was like, yes, I'm gonna be good at Tekken. I'm gonna be training so hard. I'm still bad at it. I'm still bad at it, everybody. I'm a King player, by the way. Yes, I can hear the booing. Yeah, boo.
This is one of those moments when I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah, man, sure, he's a king.
Yeah, people in the
great.
comments be like, were you a King player? Anyway, one thing that frustrated me all the way throughout the movie was the editing. And the editing
Right.
in fight scenes. Oh.
I was gonna say this. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, so I don't like to compare things, but John Wick, that's how you properly portray a fight scene. That's how you properly process all the moves that they've done. However, in this movie, you don't properly see the fights. It's just quick edits. It's all quick cuts, and you don't know exactly what's going on. Like, there's the fight scene in the alleyway. There's some of the fight scenes in the tournament. It's just so annoying, and it's just all over the place. You could have one camera following everything rather than just relying on all the cuts, because it just reminds me of Taken again, which we probably talked about on this pod, like all the cuts, and you don't want to have shaky cam. Again, shaky cam, that's the other thing as well. Please, I just want to see the action properly. Please.
Yeah, the thing that made me really excited from the trailer is that there are some really brilliant one-take action bits. There is a bit in the alley where the camera like swoops around him as he jumps onto a fire escape ladder and like swings around and kicks someone. It's brilliant, but those moments are so fleeting in the actual film. It just leaves you going, what are we doing? Why? Because Ben Wang is doing the martial arts. Like, that kid knows how to fight. Presumably, all the other people who are fighting are also fighting. And the reason why you do the quick cut editing, mostly, is to mask stunt people. Why are you doing a Karate Kid movie if you are editing so fast and so quick? That was the big disappointment of this movie. You want to get the fight sequences to hit. What are we masking here? Are you masking stunt people? Are you masking people who can't really fight that well? I mean, okay, I get it if it's Jackie Chan, because of course that guy can fight, but obviously he's older now. Same with Ralph Macchio. But then why do it at all if it has to be like that? Not to compare, I think John Wick is a brilliant example, but we have 5 other Karate Kid movies and 6 seasons of Cobra Kai in which the action is brilliant. It's iconic, it's fun, it's not overcut. It's such a shame. This movie is called Karate Kid. Surely the karate would be fantastic, but it was just really underwhelming. There's not really much to say about it because I couldn't see half of it. Like the flying dragon kick was cool, but other than that, you know,
you're just in the cinema,
that's
just
that.
like, where was it?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
is it?
it's a shame. It really is, especially because I thought that trailer looked so great with the action.
It looks so cool. Obviously, they had
um,
a lot of ideas for this movie, and they had to cut some things down.
The potential, man. The potential, it's right there. Obviously, the original film got 2 sequels, a spin-off and a reboot, and a sequel series. And I guess this is the first pseudo-sequel to the reboot. Do you think we should get another one of these with Ben Wang, with Jackie Chan, with Ralph Macchio? Where do you stand on that?
Okay. I would be happy if they do something different about it, because this is kind of the same thing when it comes to the Karate Kid. What if it's something new? A different structure or a different way of introducing karate or a different martial arts, like something more with character development or something If they do something different, cool.
Give it the Creed treatment. Find a way
Yes.
to really dig down. We've had, at this point, 4 separate Karate Kids, and then there's all the kids in the show, and they all do have differences, but as you say, the new place, the new bully. I feel like there is a way to do it. Maybe, yeah, a bit more of a use of our nostalgia characters if we're bringing them back. But we do get, for the Cobra Kai fans, the final scene with Johnny Lawrence, Johnny and Daniel together. Oh my god. I was like, yo, as I was doing the Leonardo DiCaprio, the point, I was just grinning my face off because this doesn't really acknowledge Cobra Kai at all. It might as well not exist. There's no mention of anything that happened in that show or Daniel's family or anything like that. But it was nice to have a little thing in there for the fans. And I kind of feel like maybe the future of this franchise is on TV where we can really stretch out and develop things slowly rather than doing more of just the same movie, same formula. But hey ho, what are you going to give Karate Kid Legends out of 10?
You know what? It's a good vibe. Not too bad. I'm going to give it a 6.
I am also going to give it a 6. Thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week, it is Elio, a film that has been delayed many, many times. Pixar's latest.
Interesting. I don't know anything about it. I've seen trailers.
I've been excited for this. Like, original films from Pixar are where it's at. I don't care about Inside Out 2 or Lightyear. I want Elemental. I want Turning Red. I want Soul. I want Luca. So I hope it's good. I really, really hope it's good. But yes, we'll be doing that next week. And if you want to, you can send us an email at outoftimefilmpod@gmail.com. You can send us your thoughts on Elio, and we'll answer it right here on the podcast next week.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on the Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links there all in the description below. Thanks to LG Engineer for the excellent theme and Ronan Phillips' vocals as always. And I think that's everything. Take away given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.